Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go over uranium, do our daily technical analysis update. What I'm using is TradingView now. If you guys like TradingView, put it in the comment section below that it's better than what I've been doing before. It's very easy to zoom in and out, and I can manipulate everything when doing these videos, and it's much easier, I think, to get a better picture for everyone who's viewing. It's much more value added, much higher quality. I think it's going to work out a lot better. And I can set these things up pretty well, so I can do it pretty quick. I think everybody wins on this. So again, this is just my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice. Let's dive in here, and I'll show you what I'm seeing in the charts. And today I'm going to start with the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. I'm kind of zoomed out as far as I can. This is how long the trust has been open. But the good thing is we're coming on up, and we've been moving back and forth, and we broke to the upside of this pattern. We broke to the upside, and what I usually do is I zoom in on this portion. Now, I've got these lines going across. I started at the top here, and I worked down of, it's basically fractals of what a pullback could be. And I put it where I think it's a pretty good lines coming through where you have support, resistance, and it kind of just blows out where all those support and resistance lines are. So it works pretty dang well. Usually I just look at a chart and I put the lines in myself, but this one kind of puts it, and I think it makes it easy for everyone to see. And what we're seeing is we're kind of coming up against one of those fractals of a 50% pullback from the top. And that's right where we're at if we zoom in here. And what's really cool is we're kind of bouncing down. We got some selling pressure up here. We came on down. We have a bullish, or I should say a reverse candlestick here, which is called a hammer pattern. And then we've got nice good bounce after that hammer pattern late in the day today. And that's what this big green candlestick is here. So there's our hammer pattern here, and there's our bounce. And we'll see if this thing can move on up. And usually what I look for is kind of a break. And you can kind of draw it here. You kind of just come down. But this is on a very short-term basis, that candlestick break. Then we want to back out and see if there's any other things that we can see on a break. And we've got support underneath it with this trend line coming through. So that's good. We pulled up with good buying pressure on the left-hand side here, and we just came on back with smaller selling pressure. We could see a bounce here and move on up. So that is positive development for, I would say, the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. Now let's dive into URNM. And I already drew this one up too. So we've got URNM here. I'm going to zoom way back out. I put our lines on here, coming on down. I ran through a trend line through the tops of these guys, running it all the way across, and we are at that trend line. We broke below it, came back up, and we're kind of coming through it. And I'm using that trend line still kind of right underneath it. We broke to the upside, and we had strong selling pressure. See these big, large down candlesticks in here? It did not like going up above that line up here. So it got sold off, sold off, sold off, and it came back down. It's starting to rest. And if you look at the right-hand side here, big bullish engulfing pattern here, and we're starting to work. We broke our downtrend here on the very short term, but we still have to get through this big bearish candlesticks in here. So the momentum is still to the downside, but we're trying to make our way higher. It still has some work to put in. So the downtrend is still the overall downtrend. We can draw a line in here. Kind of draw it through here. That downtrend line is broken to the upside. We've got some movement to the upside here where we could stage a comeback. So that's for URNM, kind of the overall sector here. Now let's take a look at CCJ. See what we have here. And I'm looking at the pattern. Let's back out some more. Back out, back out, back out. We want to take whenever we chart, we want to go from a big picture down into a smaller picture. And what I'm seeing here, I'm going to draw it from this way back. See how we've got these kind of coming through here? And then I'm going to draw another one kind of coming through this way. So there's that. And see how this is coming up into an ascending wedge pattern. Now we're right at the bottom here, and we could break either way, up or down. We zoom on in. I'm looking at the candlestick patterns to see what they're telling me. Now looking at this, what we have is we're right there at that support line. And I'm looking for another pattern here. It's kind of like right maybe through here. And then if I draw another one through here, it's a descending wedge. So what we have, and this I think is probably bullish here, and I'm looking at these candlesticks on the right-hand side, and they don't look too bad. So we zoom out, we have this ascending wedge pattern on a longer-term time scale. It's coming up, it's squeezing up, but at the tip of this, we have a descending wedge pattern. That's what this descending wedge is. When you look at the candlesticks in here, you have larger up days, smaller down days coming through here. Now this one's a little bit of an aggressive down day, but I'm looking for this to turn around. So if you look from this way, from here to the left, we've got large down candlesticks, and the up candlesticks aren't as big as the down ones. So we're going into a descending pattern. Now we've got, and you can do this over and over, we kind of can draw another one here where we're starting to make progress. So we've got this little downtrend line, it hit support. We got the long-term support coming through here. It broke to the upside, and what do we see on this side over here? We've got our big up day, small down days. Big up day, the buyers are starting to take control. What I'd really like to see is big volume on this guy here. So we're looking at this. It doesn't look too bad if we can break this upper resistance line here in this pattern. We break to the upside, I think we're looking really good. So if we see a close above 27, 26.90, 27, I think we're kind of making some progress. So that's a CCJ there. And if we were to draw the line below this out here, let me see if I can see what this thing looks like. I'm going to say, let's go back up. Probably about right there. So that's about where these lines kind of mix in. And we're right kind of at support where it bounced. So we had this intersection of the big trend line coming through, support coming from the left hand, horizontal support. And then we've got support on this descending wedge triangle. So we could come and push higher here. It's very possible. So we'll do some other ones here. We'll do NXE to see what we got going on there. Ooh, this doesn't look from a big picture view. Oops. Wrong candlestick, guys. No. There we go. And I'm saying it's probably about there. About what I see. And then I'm looking to see at the right-hand side, I'm looking to see if there's any sort of, so we did break to the downside of this kind of trend there. And then if you look at kind of a big picture view, we're squeezing up in this ascending wedge triangle, and we broke to the downside. Now, how far this will go, yeah, we'll see. So we're zooming on in. I'm trying to look for more patterns here. Zooming on in. Get this precipitous downfall here. It is contracting up. I'm just trying to see where I can grab this guy. I mean, we've got kind of this line coming down there. We've got another one. I'm trying to see if it's kind of wedging up. Maybe. But we do have some good moves. It's slowed down. It's starting to turn a little bit, but we got to see some work here, guys. This one does not look as good as some of the other patterns that we're looking at. And I don't like all these big, large down days. It's just dominating. But it is coming to a point here. And it does look like it's turning. So that's next gen energy. And that a big ascending wedge pattern there. Next, let's jump into let's do DNN. Let's throw the pattern on here. about right there. You can see I'm touching this line there, this line, this line, this line. It's about where it should be. Let's draw a pattern, and what I'm seeing is I'm looking for kind of these patterns and how they're coming on up here. See, we're still in these ascending wedge pattern there. So we're coming up. We went sideways in this consolidation period, came on up. We're contracting some, zooming on in, big, large down candlesticks all through here. I mean, it looks like we're starting to make a little bit of headway here, but I don't like these big, large down candlesticks. I got to see that reverse and turn with some large up candlesticks where the buyers are in control. When I see these big down candlesticks like this all sprinkled throughout, the sellers are in control. The buyers, if you look on this side, on the left-hand side, see all these big up days and then the small down days? Buyers are in control. And you can see it slowly start to turn. It started changing about right here. You started seeing these big down days, these big reversal days, which means it's about to turn and head lower. And that's kind of what I use as a way to see if something's about to turn. And there's a big, very big look at it for DNN. Let's go into Bannerman. Here is Bannerman. I'll throw the grid up here. And I think where this needs to be is needs to come down a little bit more. It's about, oops, I'm off the page. That's why it's not reading. I want to drag it a hair down a little bit more, just a hair more. So these are down just a teeny bit more. So this would align with that. But looking at this on this side, on the right-hand side, so this one doesn't look horrible. And the reason I say that, we have these big, large up days all through here, and the down days aren't too bad. We've got good support. I'd say the line would have been resting down here. If I could have drawn it properly. Good support down there. We'll see which way this breaks here in the short term. But this is Bannerman. I don't really have too much more to say about it. Nice, good downtrend line break there for a nice move higher. And it's kind of coming up and consolidating here. And we'll see if it breaks to the downside. Looking at Forces Metals, that's what we'll do next. May the forces be with you, because that was little Banny. So, man, this thing could be big. So what I'm looking at here is I'm going to just draw some lines on this guy. So when you look across here, there's your support. I mean resistance, sorry. You've got this resistance there. And then looking underneath, you know, you've got this huge line that's coming up. So we've been coming up and contracting. And when this thing breaks, it's going to be a moonshot, guys. And what we want to look at is we want to look at the candlestick patterns here at the tip over here. Now, this is positive. We got big buying pressure coming up and then the small sell-off. Now, we're getting a little bit hairy on this side because we got some selling pressure right here where it just kind of shot lower. But it's still fighting, still looks okay. We've got a hammer, big bullish engulfing hammer pattern right here where it dipped down and got bought right back up. I think it looks pretty good. And then you can kind of look on the right-hand side here as we zoom in. You know, we got to break kind of above, oops, got to break above that line. And then I think if we break above that, we're going to get moving. And if we can break above this guy at about 88 cents, where I drew this line across, and can close and get up there and stay above there. And I think we're getting there because we're coming to the tip. This one was just premature. Everybody got overly excited. Premature breakulation. Premature break. We came on back and we're still in the pattern. The pattern's still holding. So everything looks fantastic for May the Forces be with you. So that one looks really good. I like that one a lot, actually. So next, we'll go into Baseload. My boy Baseload. Now, looking at this guy. Let me throw something in here. We got this pattern coming down. Let me see if I can. Oh, right there. It's about where we want to be. We've got our cup and handle pattern here. We got the lead in, the big old cup, and we've got this handle that's kind of scribing out. It's kind of getting ugly back here, but we've got some support in here. Been a nice one to buy right there. Zooming on in, let's look at the candlesticks. Now we've got quite a bit of selling pressure coming up. It's fighting us. It's fighting us. But we got some good sized green days. Green day, got it. Coming on up here, so that it doesn't look too bad. I'm looking for, we got a downtrend line break here. Throw that in real quick. There's the downtrend line break. Hopefully we can get some momentum and move on higher. But overall, looks pretty good for baseload. Doesn't look too bad. Let's go into, I think a lot of people like ISO energy, so we can go and look at ISO energy. I'm going to back out. Let's pop this guy there. I'm going to say it's probably about there. So we've got our lines coming in. I'm looking on the right. Okay. Cut that off a little bit. Sorry, guys. So we have a line coming through there. We've got one underneath here, roughly, somewhere in this range. Looking at the candlestick patterns here, coming on up. More of a sell-off coming through here. We're finding some support in this area. It dips down, and then we took off. So it doesn't look too bad. And if you've looked at patterns a lot, they usually make this left-hand shoulder. They come up, they dip, they come up, and then they pull back. And this is hopefully the ending move where we come back on higher. I always see this pattern. This is a head and shoulders pattern, and it's ended. So I think the move, the return move, is probably really close to being done. We've got a nice, good reversal hammer stick pattern here. Bigger buying pressure than selling pressure, and we're starting to come on up. I think we could do well here. We could do well. So that's that one. Let's go into let's do UROI. Me, Roy. No, you, Roy. All right, let's back out. Let's see what this thing looks like on a larger pattern here. So we pop this in. It's probably about there. So moving on in. I'm looking, I'm trying to see some patterns here, guys. Draw that guy in. We've got this guy that came in. We kind of messing with this underneath. Now, this could be a false breakout where people get all, they hit a bunch of stops down here. There's trading stops and whatnot. So it comes down. This is a bullish engulfing pattern right here. High volume kicks us higher. Bounces, kicks us higher again. Small selling pressure. It looks like it's turning where we could turn back up. So that looks good for UROI. And it's kind of right at this support resistance line coming through as well. Let me back up here. Just take a look. Yeah, that's what we got. So it doesn't look too bad. We could turn here if it gets its butt moving. The buyers can step in here and show them who the boss is, Tony Danza style. So next, let's do Consolidated Uranium. We'll try that one. We're just bouncing around, guys. I'm just seeing what the charts look like. Looking at that big picture view. That's all the way out. Throw that in there. It's probably somewhere maybe about there or so. And then I'm looking for, this is what I'm seeing here. When you draw this line in, kind of draw that line in, we're consolidating up into this point, and we broke to the downside here. We've got we're trying to break back into it, and the sellers rejected it. And this thing's, whenever you see this, it almost wants to roll back over and come back down. Big volume on the sell-offs, smaller volumes on the ups. This one doesn't look nearly as good as the other ones, where this could potentially head lower. But Anything's possible, but that's what I see on that Consolidated Uranium. Let's go and check out Laramide. So here's Laramide. Zooming out. Let's throw. I'm just going to throw this right-hand side. And it's probably about there. Yep, looks about right. Lines up very well. We're right at this support line down here, guys. And what I'm going to look for is a turning point. Here's a hammer pattern. Hammer pattern is going to turn and probably try to go higher. It looks like we kind of, broke this steep downtrend line on the short term. So I think short term, we're going to try to go higher. We'll see what the buyers and sellers do. We've got some big buying pressure coming up, small selling pressure. Looks like the sellers are getting tired. And when you look at a left to right pattern, you can see that the sellers were getting strong here. You can see these two big sell-off days with high volume. It's coming on up, big selling pressure candlesticks all through here. And it said, hey, we're slowing down. We got to turn. We turned. It's coming. And then you can see from this point on where the vertical line is, bigger buying pressure and smaller down days. So the sellers are exhausting themselves. The volume's kind of declining down on this move sideways. And I think even down here would be a good time to maybe do some sprinkling, if you know what I mean, for a potential move higher. So that's on Laramide there. So that doesn't look too bad at all. And we'll do another one, UU, Energy Fuels. Ooh, this one doesn't look too bad. Just by looking at it real quick. I'm going to zoom out. Let's throw get the pattern up here. See, it's about right there. Looks beautiful. Let's get some lines drawn in here. What I see is kind of a line coming through this way. So I'm going to do this. I can't extend that far. Missed it a little bit. So we got that coming through. Now let's look at the right-hand side. We've got support underneath it, right underneath it, coming through at about 940. We do have kind of almost a break there. We got these. Now, when you come up and you look at this, see these big up days and kind of the small down days? These down days were getting bigger and bigger, and then you can see this big hit on the head pattern there, right there. This day, right here, was the day of turning point. Then the smaller, see the smaller up days, and then another hit. Smaller up days, hit. This right here is a topping pattern on the short term. On a big long term one, you'll see it as well, even bigger. But this is just on the short term. And looking on this side here, where we came on down, we have it's still in pullback mode on November 16th, and then we have a nice big up day right here. This is a reversal, could be a reversal bullish engulfing candlestick, which engulfs the days before it like this. And then you start to see the smaller down days. We're trying to see if these sellers are going to exhaust itself, and I think it will. We got a downtrend line on the very short term broken over the past few, 4, 5, 6 days, and we're going to probably try to turn here and move on up. So today, yesterday was a bottoming type move, and today we broke through, and we're just traveling sideways in what I consider to be a dead period. So it doesn't look too bad, and we could see a potential move, or at least the buyers to try to turn this to the upside here. And we've got support right underneath us on a big long-term view. So that's what I'm going to do for today. That's a lot of different charting. I kind of went more deep into it so you guys can see what I do. I'm using tradingview.com. It's all available to you guys. So if you guys want to try this stuff yourself, you can do that. If you guys have any questions, put it below. We'll continue, and I'll do a random amount of companies when I go through this so you guys can see how I chart things, what I look for, and I'll do better explanations of it. Let me know if you guys prefer this. Put it in the comments section if you like this type of format. I think it's probably going to be better. And hopefully you guys get more out of this. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.